Hello, welcome to this recording. In this video, I'm going to talk about the new OpenAI feature. OpenAI is the same company that developed or created ChatGPT. So the latest feature, which was released about a week ago, yes, about a week ago, is called the memory feature. And what memory does is specifically is that it will help remember any instruction that we may give ChatGPT that's not usually normal or something new, something we would like it to remember. Um, for those that maybe have had me talk about some features of a good prompt is one of the things is you may have to be specific or give ChatGPT context of what it is you want. Now, with time, because I no longer use that as much, except when it's a new instruction, um, is that it learns how you want a specific instructions delivered, given to it, and that kind of thing. So, for example, I tend to usually work in project management, talk about project management, specifically also in healthcare, but also some other industries, depending on what the conversation is. And once in a while, I may give examples that are out of project management in healthcare. It could be probably project management in healthcare construction. It could be in marketing. It could be in sales. It could be any other type of examples. Okay. So with that said, if I'm writing or I want it to help me with some ideas or something like that, I may tell it that, you know, um, be this kind of person or be this take on this type of persona. I may specify a specific person I want it to take on in order to give me that. So I'm going to first of all show you where this feature is. They actually automatically push them. Also, the feature is only available for Plus users. The Plus users are the people who have ChatGPT4. This is the paid version account. So if you go here, you're going to find that every account will have version GPT-5, which is also good, 3.5, which is also good, and then also GPT-4. GPT-4 tends to be the one that's the plus. As you can see here, GPT.3, if you create an account and you go at the top here, it will have that arrow. So depending on what you want, you can click on that and go and have it use that version, however you want that to be, okay? Because I have 4, I'm mostly using that. So I click on that and then it moves. If you go back again, you see that it's moved over to 4. So it tells you 3.5 is great for everyday tasks. It's actually good. It will give you good information. What 4 does is sometimes it takes things a little bit further. It may give you more information, but also I like both of them because what I like about 3.5 and I use 4, sometimes I use 3.5. It tends to give you, if you want a summary type where it's not overly talking, as they say, because they say they're also working on that, that I may use it for that. Then GPT-4, as you see here, it has ability for creating images through the OpenAI for image creation called DALI, and then also browsing the internet and analyzing usage limits may apply. So here, of course, it depends. Usage limits, I haven't had as many, but sometimes if someone maybe is using it a lot, they may tell you that for the day, hold off. It's not that you've reached your limit, but kind of you reached your limit. And so they tell you to try again in maybe an hour and a half. That has happened to me, I think, in the beginning when they released this. And we kind of all were jumping on it. So that's what happened. This tends to happen during probably early in the morning, Eastern time, early in the morning, because the other time zones that are ahead of the US, maybe the people are using this. So Usually in the afternoon, not as much, but it could also occur in the afternoon for the US users because now time zones that are behind Eastern time, I'm on Eastern time, have started using it. People have woken up and they are doing their work and stuff like that. So anything from Central, Mountain, and Pacific users are using it. Anyway, so that's what it is. It's available only here. So I'm going to show you where it is, where you can see that. Here they provided us a sidebar cover. You can open that up. You click on that arrow, it opens that up. It will show you a menu. So if I go down at the bottom here, it shows that's where our settings are. And so when you click on that, it's going to show you what those are. My plan is there, my GPTs. Now, if you didn't create any GPT, you won't have that here yet. If you create a GPT is a customized, essentially a customized version of this ChatGPT that's specified for your use, depending on what you want to use it for, depending on your industry. What you usually do if you're a writer, it's going to be something to do with writing, probably if you want, of course, and you can have more than one. Okay. The other one would be customizing ChatGPT. Here's where you enter your bio and things that you're telling it that, hey, these are the things I'm going to be talking about. So remember me. And then the one that we want is the settings. This is where you're going to find what we're talking about. So to find memory specifically, you're going to go to the personalization here. And then you find that it's here. This, I didn't have to think about it. They pushed it to every account, so it's already there. Okay. So the two ways you can use memory, and there are times you may not want to use your memory, or for ChatGPT to remember whatever chat that you have made. This could be maybe in times when you have to feed it, let's say, some specific information about you. Maybe it could be that you did a specified job for a certain period of time. It could be some information you're providing it specifically for you, let's say a name or things like that. You could decide to turn it off. And also, if you see here, these are examples they gave. This isn't great, it wasn't me. That's them as in OpenAI that did that. It says custom instructions, they are on, it shows they are on here. But if you want, those are the ones that I showed you earlier. Okay. Anyway, you can tell it, hey, I got a puppy. So in case examples are here, let's go with this. Remember that I have, I like concise responses. So this could be you or someone who may want ChatGPT to be giving concise information and it's not wordy all the time. Sometimes it can be wordy. And so sometimes me specifically, I may tell it, hey, just give me a bullet point, 1 or 2 sentences. But if you want it to remember, you can actually say, hey, remember. You can literally type it in and tell it, remember that I like concise responses. You can also tell it, I just got a puppy. Here, I'm just using these examples. Why do you say that? Because you may need tips for something, maybe training your puppy, how to, to potty train your puppy or what instructions to train it to understand you, sit, stand, and all of that, heel, the kind of thing. Also, what maybe you may want it to remember about you. For example, it may be that you're talking about one specific topic, like me. I don't talk only that. I talk about project management and healthcare, specifically at a greater deal, but those are not the only topics I talk about. I also talk about writing. I'm a writer. I also talk about marketing. I do digital marketing. And then just about any other topic that you may need some information or things like that. Okay. And then another one is, say, where did we leave off my last project? We can ask you that and to help you. Okay. So in the times where actually here the manage is where you may want it to a specific chat, maybe you don't want it to be remembered. You can click on here and then you delete that. Okay. You may do that. Oh no, but you may do that. All right. So so that is how we do our memory. Okay. Now, another way, remember I said that you can delete a chat maybe if it has specific information. Another way that I wanted to show you is that if you don't want it to remember specific information, say about you, anything you don't want to be used for the larger purpose of training, because another thing here in our settings that we're given an option is that we can turn off if we don't want data controls. I think it's here. Yes. If we don't want OpenAI, our data to be used to train the model, okay, we can opt to turn off that. Improve the model for everyone. So I can opt to turn it off so that, my data is not used. But if I don't mind what it's used for, because I want it to learn more, I'll leave it on, which is what I do here. But there's specific data that I'm very careful to not enter in here. Okay, so that is how you can turn that on. Anyway, so the other way that you want also that you can decide to not have a specific chat or specific prompt to be remembered is you go here where they have temporary chat, okay, down here. You click on that and it will turn it on, okay? If you go back here, it toggles it and it turns it on. Before it wasn't on. And if you can see here, I've toggled it, it's on, and you see that it's different from the former one that I was using. So now it's a darker shade, it's dark on dark, and we can then type in what we want, okay? So here I could say, hey, the information here could be, hey, I worked at this hospital, say hospital, because I talk about healthcare, between this timeline from to this timeline to, I'm not putting the specific ones. I can say to, let's say 2/01/2019, right? Let's say from, these are by the way made up, so this is not true. I could say from let's say 6 June of 2017 to this timeline, okay? And so I'm asking it something that I want it to do. Find out for me what major events might have happened during this timeline at hospital A. I'm calling this hospital A, okay? Right? So you may want that you want that, but you don't want that to be remembered here in the overall model. You can turn that on, okay? So that's how you do that. So I'm gonna remove this because I want to demo how we can temporary chat, because I don't need to do the temporary chat. I want to actually do this. So the example I'm going to give here where we can use a good place to use model from a work perspective, I'm going to use that, and also from I'm also going to use a personal, okay? Personal will be example. It's not real, just an example. So here I may say that I am working. By the way, we could use actually also voice here, I think, if I remember. Yeah. I'm working on a project. Healthcare project. And I am having a meeting with 2 other project team members, Jen Doe and John Jones. These are made up names, okay? So that's the name. We we will be discussing, the status, the cyber, let's say cyber security. I'm using something that I haven't, used or worked on before. Just so we are all in, green about it. So it's equal kind of. Okay, security. So oh, Jesus. So this is cybersecurity implementation. We'll be discussing the status of the cybersecurity implementation. Okay. Status for week 1. I, as the major, will need to know what are some issues might be having. B, what are some roadblocks stopping them from their progress design of the implementation. So this is a bit long, but forgive me. I have to give you these instructions because I'm not using notes, so I'm showing you also how you can use that. However, in this case, you may have notes and you can upload them using this. Me, I'm going to ask you to give me example of notes. Okay, so that's why I'm being explicit here, giving it more information because this is what I'll need. Okay, so roadblocks, and then what are some tasks that will need to be worked on for the next week? Oopsies. That's interesting. So you brought that up when you do that, when you use that. Okay. So it brings up some of the others that I had. Some GPTs I may have used in the past. Okay, so here it's week 2. Okay, that's what I want. So now I'm going to ask it, write me an example. Meeting is to happen. So this is going to be the past, not the happen on I'll say December. I don't have to write actually December. Let's see, December 20th, 2023. Okay. Now the data for GPT plus actually extends right into this year, 2024. So I'm giving it a past date because then it will be able to come up with something. But if I give it a future date, it will actually tell me it hasn't happened, as you can imagine. So I can't write you anything. So I'm using a past date. The meeting is to happen on December 2023. The reason for that, I'm trying to provide it usually all the information that we usually capture when you're managing a project, okay? And at the time of you can say at the time of this I'm just writing, but it knows even though the context I may not write it, right, and this is purposeful for me to do that. I'm doing it on purpose. In other words, otherwise I could just say and it happened at on this date at this time. Either way, is time. Let's say the time was 10 a.m. EST Eastern. Okay. You can also leave out you may not put the times on either way. Anyway, write me an example of notes that transcript would be captured from a meeting like this. So let's see what it gives us. Remember I said script, so there's a difference and I'll get to that. All right. I didn't want it to be long, so that is great. So perfect. All right. So the meeting, I didn't even give it all the very, very big details. At least I gave it at the very least some information. But as you can see here, it gave me the project meeting transcript. A transcript is literally just writing out what was said. Okay. Attendees, cyber implementation, week 1. Remember I said week 1, welcome introductions, name there, review of the agenda, discuss current status of that, identify issues, roadblocks encountered, plan tasks. Okay. So that's the agenda, meaning that is agenda that usually as a project manager, you write down. Okay. Status updates, Jane Doe said this. This is the things now. Again, it's a transcript. So you're just literally writing down what someone said. So you say reported successful completion of the initial framework setup. That's Jane Doe, that's what she reported. The issues encountered, we write down what she encountered, any assistance requested or required. She requests expedited responses from the compliance team. Great. John Jones, update on software progress, roadblocks, insufficient access to that, immediate needs, Okay, so those are the team members. That's what we have. The discussion was collaborative discussion overcoming identified issues. How, in other words, we talked about how those can be overcome. We made suggestions and things like that. That's exactly what usually happens. Okay, so action items from for week 2. In other words, the discussions that came out, the follow-up items that came out of discussions, Jane Doe follow up on that, and John Jones also secure that. And these all come really from what they're experiencing here as far as roadblocks, and also what the immediate needs are, for example, for John Jones, and for assistance required for Jane Doe, she requires expedited responses. And so these are things that they will need to follow up. So as a project manager, remember, I didn't specify my name. So meaning anywhere you see brackets here, I can just put my name there, okay? So me as a project manager, I'll coordinate with IT and compliance department to ensure that we address these issues and also roadblocks that are preventing the team members from being able to go forward with their work. And then organize a midweek check-in meeting to monitor progress on action items. Now, this is good because we hold weekly meetings. That's the assumption for, again, following up on any items, okay? And then closing, that's Rachel. That would be myself as the project manager, summarize the meeting outcomes, thanked everyone, and adjourned at 11:15. So that's I took about an hour and 15 minutes Eastern, okay? The transcript, so this is great. So what I would like you to remember, okay. This is now where you use your memory, okay? So you ask it to remember, because what I'm going to do, I'm going to ask it, remember how I like the summary notes to be presented. Okay. I would like to have the title at the top of each meeting session. Would like you to show which project team members were present, giving names present. Okay. So this as a template of the summary for the meeting summary notes. Okay. So I wanted to create a template for me for that. Okay. I'd like to have the title at the top. I'd like you to show which project members were present, adding the names. Obviously, when you are writing after it creates this template, we'll go to that. You don't have to put your team's names actually in ChatGPT, and I would highly suggest you don't. In fact, do not do that. What it does is that it will create a template to just put the brackets, team one or team member this, but because he has specifically said that, these are made up names, right? I wanted to give you an example. I could have just said project team member one, project member two, and it keeps using that. As you see here, as a project manager also, it's just saying your name because I said I'm the project manager. But I'm going to instruct it adding the names in brackets and referring to the project manager name as project manager. All right, I'm gonna just go here. We have top of the meeting sessions, the date and time. Okay. Adding the items. To be done for each team member. And adding the primary, I'll say primary because there'll be many primary tasks from the project plan to be one next week with their due dates. Okay. Okay. So now I'm giving it instructions to create that template for me. And remember, here it's because I want it specific. Otherwise, also, if you wanted to create a template for you for meeting notes, you can usually have it say that, but sometimes you may have to update it a little bit, which is not a big deal. But here I'm specifying how I want it to go. So that's when you really wanted to keep that memory. Okay, so remember how I like the summary notes template. Okay, so create this template for me and fill in from the meeting notes above. Okay, so two things here. I say from the meeting notes above. Why? Because I asked it to create them. When you have your own meeting notes, there are two ways you can do. You can add them and ask ChatGPT to create let's see here, actually adding primary tasks. Have the summary notes presented in bullet format. Okay. All right. So I'm asking you to create that template. So the summary notes are going to be either you can have them in a document, okay, and you upload it here, you attach it, and it will actually interpret it or read them from there, or you can actually paste them in here. However, depending on the sensitivity of what is it, of your organization, I don't suggest that you paste also things that may have sensitive information. The good thing is that for enterprise companies, if it's a big company, the smaller SMBs, the small to medium companies may not have that, or they might have, the enterprise plan whereby they actually train they made it whereby they train their data with security, where it's only their data. It's not part of the wider, training with this. And many times they've turned off, remember I showed you earlier, they've turned off training the data for everyone. So it's only training data for their own own organizational or company data. Okay. In that case, you can. However, if it's in this case where it's, freelance and individual and you're doing your business and stuff, just ensure that you're not entering data for your customers or your own, you yourself or your own team, that's sensitive, like names and things like that. Okay. Just copy the notes and put them in a document. Ensure there's no anything sensitive, and then you put it there. The other thing to that actually is, you know, is again just ensuring that you're keeping the security properly. Okay. So again, these things are being worked on, but we have to do our due diligence, our due part. Okay. So let's see what it creates for us. You see that? I wanted to show you. So it's saying memory updated. So it remembered that. And if you hover over that, let's go back here. It's going to show you what it's remembering. Prefers the notes, summary notes to be formatted with the title at the top, la 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 la. Essentially the instructions I gave it. As you can see here, it has that plus sign, so it can show you in bigger what it is that you kept there, or you can just read the summary from here, okay? So here's the meeting summary notes template based on your preference. I created that for me, which is great. Meeting summary. You see the difference? Remember I said the first one is a transcript, just a transcript. It's just writing exactly what was said, okay? As you see here, project meeting transcript. It didn't have necessarily like a meaningful title, okay? So here it creates a title for us, date, time, attendees. So that's what will happen. So for implementation, I didn't even tell it. It created the job titles of the team members there, which is great. So what that means is that essentially these are the SMEs, which are subject matter experts that could be working on that project, the analysts or anyone. So you just replace that as could be. Summary notes, essentially that for next week. We say due date is 27th of October. Sorry, 27th of 2023. If you remember, I said the meeting was on the 20th. Okay, so it's 7 days. So that's good. Same thing with the other team member. Due date is the 24th. Conduct technical review. That's great. Project manager, your name, it leaves that space. Action items, coordinate that. Task for next week. Ensure all tasks are on track for that status next week. And it's due on the 27th. Okay. Why the 27th? Because again, it's the next week, 7 days. That's its assumption, because every week you're going to have a check-in meeting, a status meeting as it's called, and then we go with that. Okay. So you can copy this as your template and use that, and just fill in whenever you're having your, meeting notes and stuff like that. You just fill in, literally fill in what each week the action items will be. So what that means is that the dates will change, but your time usually is the same. The name of the project is the same. The people on the project are there. Okay. Now the thing also here could be that you have the project team. This could be project team, and then you may have where you have a check mark and you say these are the people. It represents the people who attended. Okay. But here you can also say attendees. It depends how you want to present that. So that's also really up to you. The summary notes is that, and action items or things to follow up on are also those ones. Okay. So that's how you do that. I wanted to mainly show you this memory, how it updates that. All right. Um, so that is that. Another time could be, I'm going to start a new chat. Another instant could be your personal life, where maybe you say, we will be going. This use case, the second use case, is going to be where maybe you're going on vacation. You want it to help you plan some things, make suggestions and things like that. Okay, we're going on vacation. This is just an example. On a vacation, let's see, to New York City, okay, in 2 weeks. We will arrive at LaGuardia. That's what the airport is called, airport in New York. Okay. Give me a suggestion of how I can plan a vacation. We'll be staying, say, on Long Island, not New York downtown, not New York City downtown. The reason for this, I'm trying to have it to see if it will plan for us to rent a car and stuff like that. And we will be driving ourselves there. Okay. How plan a vacation will be staying there. I would like to see about 3 tourist places in Long Island. Plan for us the date and time that we need to set off and be able to arrive at these tourists in a good time for it closes for the day. Okay, let's see what it tells us. Memory updated. There we go. I remember it's also in the future. So, and this, by the way, I'll delete because it doesn't, it's not something that's true. But anyway, okay, it's giving us some suggestions here. That's great. Long Island Aquarium. Okay. We may need to rent a vehicle. What do we need to do? once we arrive at the airport. And then head off there. So we have rented a car. Okay, so it's giving us that. I probably could have added maybe explicitly, like give me the steps of what I need to do to rent the car and stuff like that. Um, but I didn't. However, in this next instruction, I gave it that. So, all right. So I like that it actually talked about planning for the return of the car, setting off. Okay. So first things first, since we'll have to rent the car, once you get to the airport, you say you choose a car agency, LaGuardia, there are several there. You make a reservation. This usually would be, of course, in advance. Oh, it mentions that. That's great. There you go. To ensure availability. And then collecting your rental. You arrive at the airport, follow the signs to the baggage area, collect your baggage, and then look direction to the car rental shuttle service. I like that. Do you see that? It's telling us we have take the shuttle. We get to the rental car center, which runs free shuttles run there. Once at the rental car, you head to the agency where you booked your car, present that, and then you get the car. But before you leave, the rental agent inspect the rental car just to make sure. Okay, these are usually the steps people do. And then you set off. Once you have the rental car, use the car's GPS or your smartphone to navigate that. And then plan for your planning for your return. You have to be aware of the fuel policy. I like that. It's reminding us that you need to go and refuel the car before you return it, and then plan your return according to your flight schedule. Obviously, however hours that we need to be there before. Okay, so that's the rental car. Now let's go to what it proposed for the upcoming. I said three because I said three good tourist places on Long Island. So it gives us the Montauk Point Lighthouse. That's good. Highlights recommended visit plan to spend about 2 hours. Oh, I like that. It gives us. Their driving from LaGuardia is approximately 2 hours and 30 minutes. All right. Ideal visit time is to arrive by 10 a.m. The lighthouse typically opens at 10:30. Okay. Um, so what I wanted to show you is that the fact that it's planning this out for us, time by time, starting from the beginning, the first one we should be going. So with this said, I think then it assumes that we're going to see this the same day from the airport. It doesn't have to be. It could be that you drive, maybe get to your hotel or things like that, or it could be the same day, depending on when your flight arrives there. Okay, so those are the things that we can work with. But anyway, the second one is this one. Same thing. It says to arrive by 1 p.m. I like that. So this actually is about an hour and 45 minutes from the lighthouse. Wow, that is far. I didn't think that Long Island is that big to have 1 hour, but there you go. The gardens usually open at until 6 p.m. Great. Okay. Then the Long Island Aquarium. So here's about 2 hours to 2 hours to spend there, fully enjoy the exhibits. It's a roughly 1 hour from this 1 hour from this tourist area. So I like that. It's really actually calculating the time between each drive, each tourist area to get there. So here it says you arrive by around 3:30 and it closes around 3:30, 5 p.m. And it had told us about 2 to 3 hours. So obviously 2 hours we've spent there, about 2 hours, maybe 2.5, usually closing, they probably will let you finish. So I think that'll be plenty of time. Driving. So driving time, you start from LaGuardia to say leave the airport by 8 a.m. to ensure you arrive on time after accounting for your potential traffic. Perfect. So those are the examples that you can use it both for work and also personal. But always when you see the main thing I want to show you here is that it will show you that it's updated its memory. It's storing that for you so that next time you ask anything about it. By the way, the reason for this memory is that you don't have to then repeat yourself. If you were to ask it anything, okay, the other thing is usually sometimes if you want to, before this memory, if you wanted uh, this ChatGPT to remember something that maybe you had talked about before, you'd have to look for the, if you go back to the menu here, you have to look for the specific chat that you talked about something, and you go back and continue, you know, whatever you want it to do, depending on the prior information. But what I like about this memory is now you don't have to give it that context like you did before, unless it's something new. Um, it's also recommended because I really realized that they actually started this project back in February of this year. But I realized that because I saw that it was improving every time. Because ChatGPT was first um, when ChatGPT was first released, it used to be that you had to tell it, okay, now you are the project manager of this. Da, da, da. I think all of us were learning how to use it, right? So people use that, but I remember I used that once, and then I realized that it would remember something. Sometimes it didn't give me the right answer, and then I have to add that. But when you keep using it, it lands. You know, you're training it on your account to give you what it is that you want. So it learned that these are the topics I mainly talk about. This is maybe how I usually want my answers, um, those kinds of things. Because the reason for example, if I'm looking for some suggestions, let's say for a title of something I'm writing about, okay, with a certain tone, a certain style, that kind of thing, I'll ask it usually about 5. Sometimes it will be 5 to 10, but there are times that I don't even have to put give me options. I'll just say give me options, and because in the past those are the times that I've asked it give me 5 options. I find that it usually gives me those. It won't do 2, it will be 5, either 5 or 5 to 10, that kind of thing. Okay. So meaning that it learns how you want your work, your tastes, or your results to you. Okay. So I hope this was helpful. So remember again that as you train it, you don't have to always be saying you are now the expert of this, or maybe you want to ask a bookkeeping. If you're a project manager for sure, and you don't usually talk about your bookkeeping or your taxes or something, you can, that's when you tell it that, hey, now you're going to act as, you know, an expert accountant or an expert bookkeeper or things like that. It will remember it. But before, you had to always, you know, remind it that, you know, you want it to act like that to give you certain answers. Again, these are things that when it's usually out of what you're asking it. So I like that they've enabled that. So that's the reason for that. Okay. And I wanted to do this as you see it, so that it's not like something I created. So this video maybe is a little bit longer than I wanted, but that's okay because I wanted really to go step by step to show you how that can be. Okay, so I hope this was helpful, and thanks so much for watching, and I hope